What must it have been like to be in a wooden boat in the black of night in rough seas? It's reported the vessel hit rocks and split in two. The shipwreck was sudden. Many went down with the boat. Their bodies washed onto the beach. Italian authorities say the boat left Izmir in Turkey 4 days ago. It was spotted yesterday evening before the wreck by the EU's Coast Guard. The Italian Navy launched boats, but the government says bad sea conditions prevented them reaching the area and they returned to port.
It was broken in the middle, like in two pieces, and so that it was not able anymore to stay in the sea. It's very windy and the sea is not calm. So on the one hand, now it's also difficult to do the search and rescue operation. But on the first hand, you can imagine that when the boat was broken and the sea was not calm, the people, some of them could bring the boat, or what was the pieces of the boat, and the other were in the sea.
The bodies were blessed by a priest on the beach before they were moved. The survivors in blankets sat in silence on the grass before being taken to a shelter. 81 people alive, likely to be outnumbered by the drowned. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni came to power last autumn partly on a pledge to stop migrant boats. Her right-wing government has slapped tough new laws on rescue charities. They must now immediately sail to port after a rescue rather than remain at sea helping other boats in distress. The charities say with vessels tied up on long journeys to faraway ports, there are fewer eyes on the sea, and that will mean more people drown. Today, Prime Minister Meloni expressed deep sorrow for the human lives she said were torn away by traffickers. Since the start of the year, 13,000 people have arrived in Calabria in migrant boats, twice as many as last January and February. But the risks of not reaching land are great. One of the survivors of this wreck, a Turkish citizen, has been arrested on suspicion of organising this voyage, which has turned into one of the worst tragedies in the Mediterranean in recent years.
Jane Deeth there. A little earlier I spoke to Annalisa Cammelli, a Rome-based journalist on the Internazionale newspaper, and I began by asking her what the reaction in Italy has been to the tragedy.
It seems that everyone now is feels not so involved in this migrants' story. Also because there was a very strong criminalization in the last few years, starting in 2017, against rescuers and against humanitarian boats. Giorgia Meloni government has used migration and the fear of invasion as one of its main issue during the campaign.
I mean, it is very much a central pledge, isn't it, for the Italian government to crack down on these humanitarian efforts to help migrants and rescue them off the sea?
Yes, the far-right government seems very, very concentrated on this, even if the humanitarian boats are rescuing just the 10% of the whole number of migrants arriving in Italy. And also if, for example, at the moment now, there is no rescue ship, no rescue boats, no humanitarian boats, but people are continuing to depart from Tunisia because of the political situation in the country, from Libya because of the chaos of the country and the violence against foreign people, and also from Turkey.
Annalisa Cammelli, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, thank you.